Hey, what's up everybody? GameDad here, coming at you guys now with part 4 of my current PS2 collection. Now, we are about halfway through this series of collection videos, so let's get in there and find out what games there are. The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King was released by EA in 2003, and this game is actually pretty fun. It has kind of a hack and slash feel to it, but in more of, I guess you could say, a more focused way. So as you can see here, I'm playing as Gandalf and going through, and it's kind of teaching me the basics of the game in the very beginning and teaching you how to parry, how to do some light attacks, heavy attacks, things like that. And I mean, the game, it was pretty good. I liked it. The Lord of the Rings: The Third Age was released by EA in 2004, and this one, it kind of takes a different approach than Return of the King and Two Towers, which you'll see next. As you can see in this gameplay footage, it kind of takes more of a classic like turn-based strategy, turn-based combat kind of game, as opposed to just an open field battling kind of game. And I thought that was an interesting take that they did on this, because I haven't really played any other Lord of the Rings games that actually have a gameplay mechanic like this. The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers was released by EA in 2002, and as you can see, it's very similar in its gameplay and combat style as Return of the King, but the graphics aren't quite as good as this game was released earlier. But I mean, it has that same kind of fun gameplay to it, and the similar mechanics, so it was really consistent. It was just in a different part of the Lord of the Rings story. Now for some more sports games. This is Madden 2002, released by EA Sports in 2000. And this game, I mean, it's your typical Madden football game. The graphics were okay for it. I did have some trouble actually capturing the game footage for it, so all you're getting to see right here is kind of the front and back cover. But, I mean, overall, it's exactly what you would expect from a Madden game. Nothing crazy special about it. Here is Madden 06, released by EA Sports in 2005. And this one, I would say this game, the 06 part, was probably like a turning point for these kind of games. The graphics took a huge leap forward, and everything had a lot more realism. And for me, being someone who doesn't really play sports games, I found these a lot easier and more intuitive to play than having to select a ton of different plays and figure out all the intricacies of playing a football game. Now here is Madden 08, released by EA Sports in 2007, and this one, even though it's a couple years later, I feel like the graphics overall were pretty much the same. The gameplay was the same. Of course, it had, updated players and team stats, things like that. This one, I did notice that there was a bit of a change with things like weather patterns and stuff, so that was cool to add a little bit of realism to the games, but overall, it's just another iteration of the same kind of game. Nothing crazy. Up next is Major League Baseball 2K6, released by 2K Sports in 2006. So this one, as you can see, the graphics are actually halfway decent. They kind of don't have a lot of detail in their textures. Their textures to me are a little bland, a little flat, but the core gameplay mechanics are there. It's fluid, it's pretty easy to figure out how to play the game, and it was actually kind of fun. Up next is Major League Baseball 2K9, released by 2K Sports in 2009. And this one, it definitely added more detail to the players overall. You can kind of tell their uniforms pop a little bit more. There's a little more facial detail. It's nothing like the, Major League Sports games that we have today, but I mean, I thought it was good. I mean, the crowd is awful. As you can see, it looks like little cardboard figures popping up. But overall, I mean, this was a solid, year-over-year improvement to the game. Now for something different, we got Medal of Honor Frontline, released by EA in 2002, and this was kind of around the start of these Medal of Honor games. I mean, there was some before this, but this game really has like a lot of what you can tell is originating core mechanics for these style military games like Call of Duty, other Medal of Honor games, etc. And I mean, I thought it was really fun. The controls were super easy to figure out, having played more modern games like Call of Duty and Battlefield, but it was nice. I mean, it was really straightforward, and the gameplay was actually really fun.
Now, here is Medal of Honor Rising Sun, released by EA in 2003. And this one, you can tell there is a massive graphic update. It's so much more detailed. There's a lot more going on. There's more particle physics, and the controls. I mean, I felt they were a little bit clunkier, but the overall gameplay, just as a whole, felt a lot nicer. The game ran smooth even with the updated graphics, and I really enjoyed playing this game. Here we've got Mega Man X7, released by Capcom in 2003. And this one, to me, it kind of had like this cell shaded comic book kind of feel to it. I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe. You can kind of see it in the gameplay footage, but it didn't really feel overall like a true Mega Man game. I mean, yes, you got your Power Blaster and you got your basic platforming, like different mechanics and stuff like that, but overall it didn't have the same feel as a Mega Man game I felt really should. Here is Mercenaries 2 World in Flames, released by EA in 2008. And this game, it's kind of like a squad-based military-esque kind of game. As you can see, I'm just playing as one of the characters it assigned me right here. And you can go through and you can call in your other teammates, and you can just rain down havoc on all of these people. Or if you want to, you can also take more of a sneaky, stealthy approach and try to solve your objectives that way. Now, this is Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, released by Konami in 2001. And this game, it's amazing how much of a technological jump this game makes, going from the original Metal Gear Solid to now it's on a new console, it's a new continuing story, and how they were just able to add so much more detail into the game to really enhance the overall gameplay experience. This is, I mean, a phenomenal game. Moving right along, we have Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, released by Konami in 2004. And while I don't really care for the graphics as a whole as much as I did in Metal Gear Solid 2, I will say that the shadowing and shading and textures in this game, I think, got a large improvement. I mean, your main character, he looks just kind of like muddied out and kind of blurry. I don't know if it's just the camera angles that the designers chose, but I mean, the gameplay itself is still good. I wasn't a fan of the graphics in this one. This is Midnight Club Street Racing, released by Rockstar Games in 2000. And this game, it's a little boxy. There isn't a lot of, smooth lines or anything like that. But it really was the start of what became an amazing franchise. Personally, my favorite is Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition, but it's fun to go back and play a game and see where a franchise got its start, see it at its roots. And this game, it's still fun. It just doesn't have a lot of the upgrades and stuff that I became accustomed to in the later games. Here we have Monster Jam, released by Activision in 2007, and this game is exactly what you would expect. It is monster trucks everywhere. You have your big derby arena, that way you can go around smashing stuff, and as you can see here, I chose Gravedigger. This was a super popular monster truck whenever I was a kid. I'm not sure if it still is today, but I remember seeing several times as a kid at the local rodeo grounds, they would always have monster trucks and Gravedigger was always there. So it's kind of cool to be able to play as Gravedigger in a game. Thought that was kind of fun. Here is Mortal Kombat Deception, released by Midway Games in 2002. And one thing I like about this particular item in my collection is that it is the premium pack. And it's got that kind of holographic cover that shows off all the Sub-Zero coloring. Now, Deception was actually a really fun game, and it was the first that I recall that had truly interactive environments. You have all your glowing edges and stuff like that, and you can send people just flying off the edge, as you can see in the footage, and just down to different levels and stuff like that. And it really added a new dimension to the gameplay, which I really enjoyed. Here is MotoGP 4, released by Namco in 2006. And again, this is one of those games, it's what you see is what you get. I mean, it is a motorcycle game modeled for realism after the actual MotoGP sport. So you have several different bikes, you have a few different tricks and stuff. You can do wheelies and stuff like that, but mostly this is kind of like a just track racing game using various MotoGP riders and motorcycles. Now, the last game for this video is MVP Baseball 2005, released by EA in 2005. And this one, graphically, it's good. Gameplay-wise, it has exactly what you would expect. But the way they do some of the mechanics, I didn't really care for. Like the pitching system, as you can see, that little power bar that's going. I don't know. It just kind of bugged me the way that it was controlled. It wasn't as intuitive as the 2K Sports games.
Now that is everything for part 4 of my current PS2 collection. Let me know down in the comments below, what games have I been missing so far that are in your collection that you think I should add to mine? And while you're there, please don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, as well as that little notification bell so you get an alert every time I got a new video coming out. Now, as always, I'm GameDad. I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you later.